is this, do you have any stories about the production on that episode that you'd like to talk about, Julia?
Um, well, let's see. I got my baseball story. I think one of them is just the swimming was a thing. It was, filmed in Switzerland in the mountains, and it was really really cold, and the production was pretty freaked out about Damien diving into the water over and over again. But he loved it. He wanted to swim every day. Um,
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Damien,
scene. My favorite moment is when Nixon jumps in
of
Yeah.
course,
in full,
he's
uniform.
awesome.
I'm like, that shit was funny. Yeah,
I was thinking that when I was
I'm
watching
a
it,
big
I'm like,
fan of his too.
oh, Ron Livingston rules.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was looking at that. I'm like, that water looks cold. That doesn't look.
It's cold. It was
Yeah.
cold.
Oh,
And
you're
one of
right.
the
It's a mountain. It has to be right.
Yeah.
the one thing that we did when the series came out on HBO that was really neat was we every week we would go to another actor's house and watch together.
Oh, that's
Everybody
so cool.
who was in town that worked on the show. And I remember watching Nixon's episode sitting between Ron Livingston and Grace, Nixon's wife, watching her husband on screen. And it was, I mean, your heart could just explode. And she just couldn't believe how perfect Livingston had gotten her husband.
Oh,
That's
man,
really
awesome.
Wow.
He's great. I mean, he's such a memorable character, Nixon, and he's got a pretty interesting arc in this episode too.
Mhm.
With just like going through like his alcoholic woes, but also the fact that people keep dying, and he's kind of not responsible for it, but he survives a stick getting blown up, and it's just like it's eating him up, and he's just had enough of it, and it's falling apart. But then, there's still the camaraderie. What's his name? Winter's like guidance and leadership still there for him and helps him through it, and then gives him that great gift at the end or towards the end.
Right.
And
Well, and he offers him a job. He's not trying to pull away from the experience. He's still holding on to at least the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so nice to know that he did go to work for his family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were all. I think they didn't show it as much with Spears, but Welsh, Winters, Nixon, and Spears especially, and Carlwood Lipton once he was well again. He had really bad pneumonia and all, but by the time they were at Birkenstock and all, they had really all become really good pals, and not just because of Winters, who really kept everybody together. Right, he has tons of correspondence that the book and the miniseries was based on. But those guys were all really fast friends and stayed in contact with each other almost naturally, even well after the war for many, many years, decades, really.
And it what was so lovely is they embraced us as part of that. Babe Heffron was in the hospital one of the Sundays we were watching an episode, and we all sang, I did a video singing Danny Boy to him. And then there he is in his hospital bed crying. I mean, it just, and the relationship between him and Garnier, I mean, they allowed us to sort of become a bigger part of that family, which was awesome of them. They didn't need to do that at all.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And, Julie, I had read early on when we were looking at some of the background for this stuff a month or two ago, how the beloved character, right, played by Wahlberg, but it's the real life guy too, right? What was Linwood's last? Yeah, the
Carwood.
Yeah, Sergeant Lipton became a lieutenant. Yeah, how in real life he made it through the production, got to go to the Emmys and stuff. He was one of the guys that were there, but it was only a few months later, right? Like not even 6 months later, after all this had kind of wound down, that he did pass away, almost a little suddenly. And I was sad to see that, but I was kind of like, wow, how cool! Like his last year of his life was getting to meet all these people, and he and Donnie Wahlberg and he really liked each other, and they probably would have been friends for years and years. Not unlike how Scott Grimes and the real life Donald Malarkey were. They were really fast friends for 20 years after this, almost, right? I mean, a good 15 until he passed. That's incredible. I mean,
it's that way across the board. And if it's not the person, it's the family. We still hear from Sink's family all the time.
Wow,
I'm sure.
That's amazing.
It's really awesome. And one of the things we try to do, since we're talking about the people versus the actors, we do our best when teaching these guys to hook that together for them, because that's how they can bring that to their acting roles. So, for example, in this episode, Shifty Powers had gone to Dale because he wasn't sure how he was supposed to play the points, you know, that he's gonna leave and everybody else was gonna stay behind. How would that feel? And Dale just said, well, how do you feel about leaving this production when this ends? And you're not going to see these people every day anymore. And he went, oh, he said, that's how they felt. So take what you're feeling as an actor and use it and how you're feeling as that, you know, guy. So it's interesting to see how those connections happen, even in circumstance.